So whenever I try to give someone an objective explanation on why Zoran Mamdani's policies around housing and the cost of living will likely make the crisis worse in New York City, I'm immediately met with people claiming that the laws of supply and demand don't pertain to housing. So I created some charts to explain in this video exactly how supply and demand works within the housing market as well as in municipal economics. Markets are made up of price and quantity, and for there to be any market, there needs to be two sides of the market, the supply side and the demand side. The supply side in the housing market is made up of landlords and developers. And the supply side is greedy. It wants to be able to charge as much as possible for as many units as possible, so it has a positive relationship between price and quantity. The higher the price, the more quantity they're going to want to try to provide in the market. The demand side is made up of renters, and renters try to be as cheap as possible. They try to get as much as possible for as little as possible. So the demand curve has a negative relationship between price and quantity. The higher the price, the less they want it. The lower the price, the more demand there'll be for it. No one side gets to control prices within the market. It's where the two of them meet in the middle, which dictates market price. And the point at which they meet is called equilibrium. It's important to understand that supply and demand curves can shift based on external factors. A perfect example of this would be New York's real estate market during COVID. P1 represents what the average price of an apartment was in New York City prior to COVID. Then when COVID hit, the demand curve shifted in. There was significantly less demand for rental units, so prices were lowered. At the same time, so many people were moving out of the city, supply shifted to the right. There was suddenly a huge increase in supply, so prices lowered even more. And this is why the housing crisis is a supply side issue. So objectively, in order to decrease rent, you need to increase the supply. And a big part of increasing the supply is to take away regulations that make it incredibly hard and incredibly expensive to build more inventory in the city. But that takes a lot of hard work to do. But instead of doing the hard work required to shift the supply curve to the right and decrease prices, what Mamdani plans to do is artificially cap the price with rent freeze and extension of the rent stabilization policy. This splits the supply and demand side curves away from its equilibrium. This in turn reduces the supply of affordable housing while the demand maintains the same, and the split you get creates a shortage. What you very quickly see are two things: stunted inventory growth, there's no building of new units because it's no longer profitable to rent them, and a sharp increase in the price of rent for any non-rent controlled or rent stabilized unit. To simplify the problem even further, imagine that there is a building with 30 rent units in it, right? And 10 of them have their rent frozen. The operating expenses of that building still maintain the same. So in order to be able to run the building and meet overhead, you need to raise the rent on all the other units to subsidize the units that have a freeze on them. So at best, these policies create winners and losers, and at worst, they create only losers. Let me know what you think in the comments, and like and follow for daily economic and public policy review.